So a couple of weeks ago, a community member of the name of Farshid1475, I hope I didn't butcher your name, asked me to make a Marksman rifle build for the Scar rifle with a suppressor. And he said, you know, the kind of build that turns this gun into a Marksman rifle with single fire being very accurate, like the PSG. So I acquiesced to this request and made the Scar H Marksman rifle build. So starting off with a base rifle here, looking at the stats, we're seeing we're doing 25 damage up to 40 meters, so we're going to want to try and extend that damage range as much as possible. So for the barrel, we're simply going to go with the Beaver long barrel, so giving us plus 6 meters in range, some new slots for patches, and a bipod at the cost of handling and accuracy, accuracy being the one that we really don't care about for this specific loadout. So install that. For the muzzle, now I tried with a few different ones. I tried with the tactical suppressor, the sandstorm, and the bashing horizontal compensator. At the end of the day, I felt I was doing better when I was actually concealing my position with the whisper tactical suppressor, and Farshid did mention that they wanted a suppressor on the Marksman build for the Scar H, so this makes a lot more sense, plus it gives us an extra 4 meters in range, so doing max damage up to 50 meters now. Install that. For the foregrip now, considering you're going to want to be firing this weapon pretty consistently at a pretty decent rate, even if it isn't single fire, I just opted to go for the X25U angled combat grip. This is the one that gives us the best recoil control, and it's going to allow you to get the best follow-up shots possible, so go ahead and install that. For the mag, we have two options here, the 30-round mag or the 50-round drum mag. The 50-round drum mag is great, it just comes with so many downsides, so I opted to go for the 30-rounder. Also, we're using this weapon a little bit longer ranges, so 30 rounds, you know, makes sense as opposed to the 50-round drum mag in this situation. So install that, then put the mag assist on here, whichever one you want. For the rear grip, going with the Air Heavy Trail grip, which is probably one of the better ones in the game. And then for the grip base, we're going to go with the stable grip base, increasing our overall stability and control at the slight cost of handling, which we will make up for. For the stock, one of the best stocks in the game is the Skeleton Sniper stock because it gives you a nice bump in stability and a nice bump in handling, which will be needed because you don't want this weapon just ADSing at a snail's pace, so install that.
Now for optics, I went with two. I went with the Viewpoint
3x scope, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to put an offset optic on here. I just went with my favorite one, which is the Mini RDS. You could put whichever one you want, so install both of those. And then for all of these slots here, I simply went with DD Python Hengar panels because I wanted to bump up the handling of this Scar H, so it ADS is a little bit quicker than it does without them. So go ahead and equip 6 of those, and then we're going to look at the calibration. All right, moving on to the calibration for the barrel, considering we're using this weapon at longer ranges, plus 50 grams and plus 10 millimeters, so we get extra muzzle velocity and extra firing stability. For the foregrip, we're going with negative 10 slots to give us extra ADS speed, which is sorely needed. Extra control, you know, you do lose 4% here, but I felt like it was a good trade-off. For the rear grip, we're going to go with plus 50 grams to get plus 6% control, leaving the other one as is. For the stock, we're going to go with plus 50 grams as well to get extra control as well. And then for both these optics, this one I'm going to go with 0.25x increase in zoom and negative 20 millimeters in eye relief. And the offset optic, we're just going to go with negative 20 millimeters in eye relief. So let's look at the stats of this bad boy once it's all finished up. So again, damage, 25 damage to each limb except the shins, which are doing 20 damage, and then 47 damage to the head. For the control, we increased it by 18, which is pretty decent, and you can see it really tightened it up here. You still have a little bit of side-to-side recoil, but it's manageable, especially considering if you're using it in a Marksman version, you're going to probably be firing it in semi-auto. For the handling, you know, it's not the best, but it's not too bad, so at 423 milliseconds, if you put a laser on here, it would remove, I think, 10 milliseconds. Each patch gives you 10 milliseconds. It would add 10 milliseconds, but it would reduce it by 50 milliseconds, so it's kind of a trade-off. That would bring you around like 383 millisecond ADS time, which isn't the best, but you know, considering we're using this weapon at longer ranges, you can really make do with that. For the stability, bumped it up quite a bit, so really good lens stability while firing. Recoil reduction when holding breath, you know, didn't go crazy on this one because, again, firing in mostly semi-auto, and then the accuracy wasn't really a consideration for this build. But yeah, hit like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thank you much for watching, I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great one.